Good afternoon, everybody. I'm back. Okay, I started taking the clay off of the walls. And as you can see, all right, now I'm going to show you a little trick a lot of people don't even do. And this is my own little invention. And when it comes to getting the clay off of this edge, see how I got clay underneath this ear? All right, and getting this off, and you don't want to mess up your sculpture. So what's the best method? The magic spray bottle of water, because you're dealing with wet clay, which is a perfect base to do this. So all you're doing is squirting out all that clay. See what it's doing here? Underneath of that, it's taking it all out. And it's giving me the perfect seam. It's going to give me a perfect seam when I'm all done. And make sure that there's no clay on the sculpture. And it doesn't damage the sculpture a little bit. I'm trying to stay out of frame because I am not putting a shirt back on. Just too much. All right, so you see how this clay's still in here? See, it's washing right away. It's disappearing. You know, I got some on the top of the head where I pulled off the it's washing the sculpture really good. I might use 2 bottles of water before it's over, but when I'm said and done, I've got a perfectly cleaned. I've got all the clay. The seams will be very small, very minute. You'll barely see the seams by using this method, because you want to clean that sculpture. You definitely don't want to take the stone off of this right now, because if you do that, you'll never get it aligned correctly again. So with that being said, I got to make sure the top of the head's nice and clean. Please, I hope I'm not in frame because I got my fat belly. I ain't showing my body. I cleaned this whole ear real good. Got to get the top of this head real good because there was still a lot of clay left. And I definitely don't want to have any clay and I'm double checking to make sure, shooting inside that eardrum real good, where the eardrum is, and I want to make sure there's no clay on the inside of this. Got to wash all down. This is my secret weapon when it comes to making my almost seamless and didn't lose any detail trying to scratch the clay out. You do any of that, you risk ruining your sculpture. So just make sure you got nice. You know, there's some clay up underneath this ear. Perfect. You look up under there. Oh yeah, that looks nice. Let me look up underneath this one. Yeah, there's still a little clay under there. Gotta get it out. Now the next thing I still have to do is I've got to put this clay that's on the back of this, and I'm going to put it up underneath it here and create a gully. And then I'll lay the sculpture down on top of this table. And I'll be ready to make the mold. I'm going to make sure I clean the whole surface really good. One thing about the using this kind of clay, monster clay, is you won't lose the detail. This spray bottle of water will not move that clay a little bit. Won't move it at all. So I'm going to have to wait and let this dry a little bit before I start the next phase. But I'm not losing any detail at all by doing this. None. Just make sure the top of the head is clean. Especially behind the ear back here. Because the stone is right up on it. And you don't want any clay. On that stone. Because then you don't get a really tight mold. You don't get a tight fit. And this wet clay is cheap, so I don't care. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to put keys in here. Just little strips of clay in between these register keys. I'll put pry spots. I'll put, you know, I'm going to put little things of clay so I can, when I mold this, when I put the plaster on this, the clay is going to give me a little bit of an opening. Then I'll take the grinder and I'll grind this all the way down to where I see the clay. When I see the clay, that'll tell me that I'm far enough to where I can pry this apart and be able to, I'll know that I'll be able to see the pry spots. That's the thing. You take the clay and you start it about here. You don't want it to be too close to the sculpture. All right, I'm not in frame. Okay, hold on. You want to, let's say it's here. I want to start this register key about right here, right where this is, and bring it out. Just a long string of clay, enough to where I can fit a screwdriver in it. All right, so it's going to be from here on out, and then I'll put one in between every one of these register keys. I don't think I'm going to do one where yeah, maybe I will. I'll put one in, yeah, I don't need one in where the ear is. I don't need that. I just need them down below and above. And when I finally take this sculpture apart, I take the front half down this way and the back half down that way. Now, let's get to that first. Let's let this dry thoroughly. It's clean, as you can see. It's really clean. There's no clay anywhere on this. I brought the light out. Hold on, I'm tripping over a wire here. See how nice and clean? I got all that clay out from underneath the ear. You know, there'll be a nice, almost perfect seam on this. Oh yeah. It's going to be nice. It's really going to be nice when this is done. All right, so I let this dry. And then I got to fill this neck up with clay and create a little well just like I did in the back. Same thing up front. I'm just going to reuse the clay that's right down here on the base. I'm going to use this clay and put it along the neckline underneath, so it creates a well to grab to create it, you know. You'll see. I'm tired. I'm going to go back inside, let this dry thoroughly, because I wet the hell out of the barrier, and I don't want this wet when I go to, when I make my, I got to put Vaseline all over this. I'll Vaseline the hell out of this, put the clay in here, and then I will start the front part. And you're gonna love it. It's such an easy thing to do. It really is. And I definitely don't want my fat body being filmed. And when I grind this all down, this is going to be nicely shaped. It's not going to look like hell. So, with that being said, guys, we'll be back in probably half hour or so, maybe a little longer. I want to make sure that stone is completely dry. All right, see you in a bit.